When was the first time you came here?
So I moved to Thailand 10 years ago. I moved to Chiang Mai.
Right, so you were young.
Oh yeah, I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you decide to come out here?
So basically, this was a time where like in England, when you're like 18, 19, you apply for university. And I didn't get into the course that I wanted to study. So I told everyone, oh yeah, I'm just going to go to Thailand for like 3 weeks, chill out, and then
That's
I'll
what
come
everybody
back.
says.
And I knew I was never coming back.
Oh, you knew though.
Oh,
yeah.
100%
See, a
knew.
lot of
I
us
lied.
tell ourselves the lie, like, I'm just going to go for a few, and then we
Yeah.
get sucked in.
No, I
And
lied.
next thing you know, you're hosting a podcast with a girl named Ern. That's
5 years later.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I knew, because if I told people, oh, I'm going to stay in Thailand, my mum would have tried to put me off, people giving all their opinions. I just didn't want to hear it. I was like, in my head, I'm going to Thailand. At the time, I was trying to do like drop shipping, and Chiang Mai was like the hub for drop shipping. All the drop shippers was there. So I was just like, fuck it, let me just move. Oh, am I allowed to on here? My bad.
No, you can say whatever. It's okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just in my head like, yeah, go to Chiang Mai, meet some drop shippers, trying to get involved. And then, yeah, and on and off between that time, I probably was in Thailand for like a year and a half, 2 years.
So what year would that be?
2014.
Wow, it must have been so different.
To be honest, I went back to Chiang Mai like a couple of months ago. It's not as different.
Really?
Not really.
I feel like even in the 5 years I've been in Bangkok, it's changed a lot.
100%. Bangkok in 2015 is very different to now. It feels way more built up now.
Right.
For sure.
So you went back in 2014 for this drop shipping thing, which I've heard very similar things from a lot of people. So what happened?
I tried it. I did drop shipping. To be honest, man, I tried every single thing you could do to try and make money online. Drop shipping, Facebook ads, sales funnels, client work, Upwork, which some worked, some didn't. Kind of led me to like, okay, let me just try and do MMA, which kind of just led me onto like doing YouTube and music. So that's when I'm talking like that full circle.
Were you doing the MMA in Thailand? Did you start it there?
Yeah, so I moved from Chiang Mai down to Phuket, because Phuket is, I don't know if you know, they got like
you're running through all like the Thailand foreigner stereotypes.
Yeah.
Like first you went to Chiang Mai to work on like an e-commerce business.
Yeah.
Then okay, that didn't work. So you go to Phuket to train MMA. So then what's next after that? Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's when the music thing happened.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the MMA thing, like, what was that like training in Phuket?
It was fun. It was a great time. It was tough though, and I realized really early on, I can't do this. I just didn't have the mentality. When I see the fighters there, no, they just switch it on, and I always just couldn't switch it on like they could. I could do it, but I don't know, it's just a different mentality, I feel like. And when I really sat down and thought to myself, can I do 10 years in MMA and stick it out? It's going to feel too much like a grind. Whereas like, can I do 10 years in music? It's so effortless. Let's just do that.
We went to an MMA fight the other day.
Yeah.
Ern was the ring girl.
Oh, yeah?
And first fight, immediately, like in the first 15 seconds, the guy got busted open above his eye.
Damn.
His whole eye was swollen.
Yeah.
He won the fight, but his tooth got knocked out too.
Oh, damn.
And he probably got paid like nothing, right? So can you imagine like going through all that just for...
It's a tough life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a foreigner, by the way. That wasn't even a Thai guy. So you're in Phuket.
Mm-hmm.
The MMA thing's not working out, but you already started working on music?
Yeah. I was still like doing the online making money thing on the side, because that's what was kind of like supplying my lifestyle, I guess. Allowing me to be able to do the Muay Thai and do the jiu-jitsu.
What kind of budget were you on then, living in Phuket, and like, was this still 2014, 2015, or when is this?
This would have been 2015 now.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe like 1,500.
Okay. I'm just wondering how much the cost of living has changed since then, especially in Phuket.
It's gone up because also the pound back in that time, it would have been 55 baht to £1, where now it's 44 baht to £1.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
so
that makes a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. And things were maybe just a slightly bit cheaper, but not that much difference.
Really?
I feel like Bangkok is way more expensive though.
Yeah.
And Chiang Mai is actually not that much more expensive.
I've noticed the prices go up a ton in the past 2 to 3 years, like kind of since the kind of end of COVID time.
Yeah.
And it's to the point now where I'm just kind of shocked all the time. Like people pay these prices, like especially Thai people.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know there's a huge influx of foreigners coming in. And also I think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like the Thai economy is growing with a lot of businesses coming here. But I I think still it only can grow at such like so much until people can't pay it anymore.
Yeah.
So $1,500 a month. So what would that be a year? Like
18, 20.
yeah. So
something
like
that.
let's say 20,000 US, or are you talking pounds? I guess it's similar.
To be honest, I was probably spending even less than that now that I'm trying to think about it. The training was probably the most expensive thing. But then I was renting a room, maybe 400 US a month back then. Yeah.
What part of Phuket were you in?
Chalong.
So long. Is that the southern,
Yeah.
eastern side, southeastern side?
Southeast, yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
That's where a lot of those gyms are, right?
Yeah, so there's a road, I think it's called Tiger Road.
Yeah.
And all the gyms are there, and I basically just lived on that road.
It's called Tiger Road because there's the Tiger Muay
Muay
Thai
Thai, yeah.
gym. That's the really famous one.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of foreigners come to Phuket, and they think like, I want to be an MMA fighter. So they move to Phuket, and do you see them come and then also like leave like 3 weeks later because it's too much? Or
It's a mixture. It's very transient.
Yeah.
Because some people only come for like a fitness vacation, basically. They got 2 weeks off work. Let's just train because they love it.
Yeah.
You get some guys who maybe stay 3 months because they're training for a fight, so they're just preparing there.
Right.
Maybe a handful of people live there, to be honest with you. If there was a class of 50, maybe only like 5 of the people are living
Yeah.
there.
How many people are training at this gym you're at?
Back then it was popping. Phuket top team was popping, so you could get 30 to 50 people on a mat.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in that situation, in Phuket, these gyms, it's all foreigners, right? At these kinds of places?
Mainly, yeah.
Do you feel like you get enough attention from the coaches, or do you feel like you have to
Yeah.
kind of...
Back then, yeah.
Yeah.
I think because I was one of the ones that constantly turned up, I wasn't one that just came in and went the next day. I was like a member of the gym, I guess you could say.
Oh,
So
I
yeah.
know. It's like you're a resident or something.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
So what does it cost to train full time back then?
I think it was 12,000 baht a month.
Okay.
10 to 12,000, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And how is it, like a 5-day a week thing, a 7-day a week thing, or what?
That was unlimited, I'm pretty sure.
But for you, like, what was your schedule?
Oh, my schedule, 2 times a day most days.
Every day.
Every day, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Saturday morning as well.
But why MMA? Why, like you just said, if just MMA?
I was just a fan. Yeah, I just loved the sport. And I just thought, it was just one of those things where it's like, oh, I see that, I can do that too. But actually I couldn't. Let's be real.
So do you have like a real fight?
No, I did I focused mainly on jiu-jitsu competitions. So I think I did a few of those.
So yeah, before you decided to do the MMA thing, did you have any training?
Here and there, yeah.
Oh, you did?
I wasn't complete newbie, but I wouldn't say I was someone who was experienced.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, 'cause I used to actually train jujitsu.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, maybe it's different now, but when I was doing it, a lot of people would start with one discipline, whether it's jujitsu or Muay Thai or whatever, wrestling. And then if they want to do MMA, they start, okay, I'm going to learn something else to kind of round it out. And then now you're going to MMA. But I think a lot of people now, they start from scratch and then they just kind of learn different things all at once.
Yeah.
So that's what you were like?
No, because I actually decided to really focus on jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because I felt like at the time, my stand-up wasn't terrible. I could throw a punch, I could throw a kick. My Muay Thai was decent. I had been training Muay Thai before coming to Thailand. So, but I had no ground game. I didn't know jiu-jitsu or wrestling. We don't grow up wrestling in the UK. So I wanted to just get good at that for a while.
Okay. And what was the moment where you were like, oh, I can't do this?
Oh man, I remember a specific moment. So it was really competitive at Phuket top team. And the coaches would really like rile you up, like kind of gas you up. And he put me against someone. And it was one of those times where you actually like have to go for it. They really want you to fight. So we start going at it. We're warring. And I'm smashing the guy. But then I make a stupid, like silly move. And he catches me. So I have to tap. And then my coach is like screaming at me. And I'm just like, fuck. And I'm screaming. I'm banging the mat. I'm crying. And I'm thinking, nah, this is not it, bro. This is not the one. And usually you should always be calm. It's just training. It's nothing serious, right? But I don't know. I just lost my cool. I was just so upset. I was so devastated. Like, how did I lose to this guy? I was smashing him. And then the coach is just rubbing it in my face. I'm just like, nah. maybe this isn't it.
Yeah. And how long after this did you go back to the UK?
Oh man, I was on the road for a long time. I only went to live back in the UK when I was 24.
Okay.
So I was on the road for
So
about
you stayed
5
in
years.
Thailand after this for a while.
So I lived in a lot of places. Thailand, then I went to the US, Canada, Colombia for a bit.
Why did
then
you decide to
Spain.
go to the US and Canada?
Because then I started getting heavily into the music, and I wanted to just go out there to network and meet people. And then I had some family in Canada, so I stayed out there for longer than I thought I was going to stay out there because I liked it. And then I ended up coming to England for 6 months and then moving to Spain.
If you like this video, click here for another one. And if you like to watch the full episode, click here.